Hello. This is the second clip for completing the cans, and we are now on the second domain, which is the child strengths. The first item of the child strengths is family, and 0 for family means that the family has strong relationships and excellent communication. A 1, some good relationships and good communication. A 2, the family needs some assistance, so we take action. Assistance in developing relationships and or communication. And in 3, the need for assistance is more immediate or more intensive. The family needs significant assistance in developing relationships and communications, or child has no identified family. So this is an important piece to remember in family, because item 3 varies considerably from 0, 1, and 2 in that the absence of a family, right? The absence of a family is a 3 in child strengths. The next item in child strengths is interpersonal, and obviously this will have to do with interpersonal skills and friends. In 0, those skills are well developed. In 1, they are good, and the child has shown the ability to develop healthy friendships. In 2, the child needs assistance in developing good interpersonal skills and or healthy friendships. And in 3, the child needs significant help in developing interpersonal skills and healthy friendships. For the item of optimism, which is an interesting item to measure, 0, strong and stable optimism, outlook on his life is good. In 1, child is generally optimistic. In 2, the child has difficulties maintaining a positive view on him and his life. The child may vary from overly optimistic to overly pessimistic. And in 3, the child has difficulty seeing any positive characteristics about him or his life. In educational, let's see what that means. In educational, and it shouldn't highlight any more than that. So in educational, this has to do with how the school works with the child, all right? How the school works with the child and the family to identify and successfully address the child's needs. Remember, this is not about the academic performance of the child. Educational in strengths means how the school works with the child and the family to identify and successfully address the child's educational needs. In 0, of course, we could say that there's no such need, right? The school doesn't need to work with the child because the child is already excelling, all right? In 1, the school works with the child and family to identify and address the child's educational needs, or the child likes school. And again, the school doesn't need to work with the child or the family, right? Now, the 2 actionable scorings, which be 2 and 3. In 2, the school currently is unable to adequately address the child's needs. And in 3, the school is unable or unwilling to work or identify and address the child's needs. Very interesting criteria. Vocational. In vocational, again, all of these items are about the past 30 days. In 0, the child has vocational skills and relevant work experience. Sometimes it's hard to find a child that has relevant work experience, but remember that we use the CANS child also for TAY population. In 1, the child has some vocational skills or work experience. In 2, which would be actionable, the child has some pre-vocational skills or vocational interests, which means that this would be something to develop further. And in 3, there's no vocational strengths identified, or child needs significant assistance developing vocational skills. So there you have the need clearly stated. Talents and interests. Talents and interests is not the same thing as vocational. Talents and interests. In 0, the child has a talent that provides him with pleasure or self-esteem, right? Actually, self-esteem would mean that the child feels good about that talent right? Not in general as a person, but about that talent or interest. In 1, the child has a talent, interest, or hobby with the potential to provide him with pleasure and self esteem or a sense of self efficacy, I would say better than self esteem. In 2, the actionable item, the child has identified interests but needs assistance converting those interests into a talent or hobby. And in 3, the child has no identified talents, interests, or hobbies. And this could be affecting the child negatively in terms of his sense of self efficacy. Spiritual/religious. In 0, the child receives comfort and support from religious or spiritual beliefs and practices. In 1, the child is involved in a religious community whose members provide support. And in 2, actionable, the child has expressed some interest in religious or spiritual belief and practices. And in 3, the child has no identified religious or spiritual beliefs or interests in these pursuits. So this item is a bit controversial because some folks believe that the spiritual or religious item or needs as they would appear, right, by the items 2 and 3 are a bias of the developer of the cans. Be it as it may, this will be a domain that this is an item in the child strengths domain that we inquire about. Community life. In 0, the child is well integrated into his community. He is a member of community organizations and has positive ties to the community. So community here is about membership in community organizations or ties to the community. In 1, the child is somewhat involved in his community. In 2, the child has an identified community but has only limited ties to that community. And in 3, the child has no identified community to which he is a member. And unlike religious or spiritual item, the community ties or community integration is an important item, and no prejudice or bias from the developer here, but strong research confirming that. Relationship permanence. Relationship permanence in the child strengths. In 0, stable relationships, family members, friends, and community have been stable for most of his life, likely to remain in the foreseeable future, and the child is involved with both parents. So there's quite a few criteria for relationship permanence. It refers to the stability of significant relationships in the child's life, and it will include family members but also other individuals. Interestingly enough, remember, this item does not score for the past 30 days, but it has to do with stable relationships across time. So far, in this domain of child strengths, everything had been 30 days. However, relationship permanence is beyond 30 days. In 1, a child has stable relationships, but there is some concern about the instability in the near future. A near future we consider 1 year, due to transitions, illness, or age. A stable relationship with only one parent may be rated in 1. All right. In 2, the child has at least one stable relationship over his lifetime, but has experienced other instability through factors such as divorce, moving, removal from home, and a death or death. In 3 is a child who does not have any stable relationships or any stability in relationships. And you're already looking at independent living or adoption, meaning when there are no stable relationships, you need to be looking at independent living or adoption. All right. The next one is child involvement. Child involvement. Highlighting is tricky. In 0, child is knowledgeable of the needs and helps direct planning to address them. Now, this item of child involvement refers to the child's participation in the efforts to address his needs. This is interesting. It means how involved is this child in the planning, in the case planning? No? How knowledgeable is the child of his own needs, right? And how much does he help in addressing them? So in 0, knowledgeable helps the case planning. In 1, knowledgeable and participates in planning, right? 0 directs planning, 1 participates in planning. In 2, the child is somewhat knowledgeable of the needs, but is not willing to participate in plans to address them. So he doesn't care about what you recommend in the case planning, right? And in 3, the child is neither knowledgeable about needs nor willing to participate in any process to address them. Nope, I don't have those problems. Nope, I don't have those needs, right? Okay. Natural supports. This is the last item in the child strengths. And natural supports refers to unpaid helpers in the child's natural environment. You exclude here family members and paid caregivers. You exclude here the therapists, the counselors, people who work at work, ADMHS, probation. These have to be unpaid helpers in the child's natural environment. In 0, the child has significant natural supports who contribute to helping support the child's healthy development, right? In 1, identified natural supports that provide some assistance in supporting the child's healthy development. In 2, some identified natural supports, however, they are not actively contributing to the child's healthy development. And in 3, child has no known natural supports. Again, exclude the family and paid caregivers. Right. So this concludes the child strengths.